Yeah, my name's Amanda. I am 39. I am a nurse by profession, so I work in the healthcare field. I was invited to um, do a 90-day regenerative diet, a rebirth. I was extremely excited and jumped all over it. The protocol was really well laid out. It was very comprehensive, and I went from in this journey being almost 170 pounds at almost 5'7" tall to um, just under 140, and I've been able to maintain that, which is huge. All of those things are huge, big changes in a short amount of time that have been really sustainable and had long lasting effects. So even before the level one began, so in the level zero, kind of the precursor, like the part that was meant to help wean me off of my standard American diet, I could eat wild meat, ancient grains, and there was honey and feta cheese and goat cheese that I could eat. And even like starting right there and starting to only have fruits from the time I wake up until noon, those changes like right away, like my body responded really well. And I was already mind blown in the first week and just telling everybody that I could have a conversation with what I was doing and going from a state of feeling so poorly to already starting to feel so much better that I didn't think it was possible.
Um, yeah, I think a lot of times people think about detox and they only think about eating raw foods or fruits, but I'm trying to get it better known that it's really a whole spectrum and a whole system based on the same principles. And that also includes from the very beginning, the most simple changes, the most simple tools are already really powerful to change things in our body.
I wanted to lose the weight, but I knew that the reason for the weight wasn't simply just weight and just diet. There was a lot of emotional attachment connected to foods. I'm a former smoker and a former drinker and probably a stress addict. And I have a history of some traumatic events in my life. And I was starting to realize too the connection I had to even a stressful, time at work that where I'd feel under pressure. And the first thing that I would do was turn to food, even in the middle of my work day. And so the effects of overconsumption were becoming apparent, and I was feeling sluggish and uninspired and just all sorts of things, and my confidence was down because I wasn't feeling like um I wasn't feeling connected to my body. So uh, so it was, weight was the tangible like goal that was the easiest to notice, or I thought it would be. But the overall way that I started feeling, it was the result I wanted, and what I had hoped for, but what I thought would end up being much harder to work for. And it was hard work, but like I said before, just following the protocol, if I could stick to the steps in front of me, see, it was all right there for me.
Can you name any effects or results that you felt along the way that was not on your radar, you were not expecting that to happen or to change?
Yeah, well, I mean, the severity of the emotional attachment and as I went through with detox was not something I expected. I didn't expect to ever actually shed tears because I wanted Cheez-Its, and that happened, which is crazy. Um, but it is actually a lot deeper than just the physical taste and touch. It was the security something was representing to me, and the absence of security that I was finding in spirituality and just trust. Um, so there was a lot of emotional triggers that came out in that detox. And I had a lot of time off work, so I was able to process through a lot of that, um, a lot of stuff connected to my childhood and the way I was brought up. I didn't expect it. I knew about some recent stuff that I thought I might go through, but I didn't expect it to go all the way back to childhood. And then also being connected to yoga, I had the opportunity to do some intensive breath work that I went through a guided thing with five other women and someone that was guiding us. And the experience being going through a detoxification, eating alkaline, the experience I had was, when I would tell people that people are saying it was like an experience on mushrooms, but I was able to do it in my own mind, not under the influence of anything but my own breath, just having these really transformative, powerful experiences just under the guidance of breath work. And I think what I experienced probably um, was a little bit more in depth than the people I was with simply because of the work I was doing to um, change my diet and eat alkaline.
What are you still doing now
Okay,
after stopping the program? What's
and
stayed?
why? Yeah,
Yeah.
what has stayed? So I love the way I feel not having anything but fruit until noon. That was just an easy change for me to make. I didn't expect it to be easy because I was someone that was eating like a full protein, eggs type of breakfast or breakfast burrito like at 8 in the morning. So initially to go to till noon only eating fruit, which is something that wasn't a part of my diet really at all before, it seemed like it was going to be a really big change. But I think it was the first thing I started, and it might be the thing that has affected me the most.
Yes, and now knowing what all is possible by being consistent with our diet and taking care of ourselves in this way, what's now your big reason why we're sustaining and for keeping this in your life in whatever form that corresponds to you?
Right, because there's so many reasons. And to put it simply, I guess, well, from a broader perspective, like I said, I work in healthcare and I see the effect that our standard American diet has um, on the body. And now, after making those changes, I have a more full and comprehensive understanding of the power of our diet and our dietary choices. So, um, that's a big reason. And then just the personal effects it's had on me. I don't want to go back to feeling how I was feeling before. Like it was a lot of work, and sometimes you secure that ambition and motivation and you use it. And I was ready at the time, and I just know from quitting other things in my life, like, I mean, on one level, quitting the standard American diet is harder than quitting a drug, because you still have to eat. So I just know from my past experiences, like quitting smoking, like sometimes that motivation, like no matter how many times you try to initiate a quit, sometimes the timing isn't right. And then when that moment comes, you grab it and you run with it. Um, and don't take it for granted. So that's kind of where I'm at too with the diet. Like I started and I was successful, and it's like, okay, well, if I go back to eating how I was, like what's going to guarantee me that I have the power moving forward to, like, it has a way of, the standard way of eating, it makes you ill, and not just physically but mentally too. So I don't want to lose the strength mentally that I've gained from the changes.
Hmm. I think, what do you think is the greatest advice that you could give to someone who is having a hard time on detox right now and thinking of giving up?
Oh yeah, don't give up. Talk to Vanessa, because I know there I don't know that I ever fully wanted to give up. Maybe with the fruit that it did get really intense, like crazy intense. Um, but I was trying to do too much while I did it. But I think the my biggest advice would, if you're going into a fruit detox, definitely plan for that time period where you have it scheduled to uh be able to take the most time for yourself possible. If getting off work for 2 weeks is possible, definitely recommend that, or reducing your stress loads in whatever way you can. And then if you're thinking about giving up, anytime I had problems and reached out to Vanessa, there was always like uh she was very you were very relatable in like what to do. Like you've experienced it. You would know, you would have like do more of this and less of this, or just areas to focus on emotionally that would kind of get me over a hump and be like, oh, like, how did she know?
Nice.
But
That's cute.
yeah, so I think definitely talking to a coach and somebody that with experience can help
Mm.
get through
Yeah.
that. That was really like, that's the other thing. I probably couldn't have done this had I just been printed out papers with instructions. Like your support was invaluable.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for that feedback. Um, I do want to speak just shortly into that intensity because people might be a little bit curious about who have never heard of doing the fruit diet or fruit detox. Um, and just to say it does get easier. Like if you have a lot to move in your body or your body goes into a deep purification and healing process, it can be really rough sometimes. You can get symptoms coming back from years and years ago, and that applies on the physical level of old pains or stuff moving out of your body as it does on the emotional level. So you're totally right that it's necessary to rest, have a lot of time and possibility to rest. But at the same time, the more clean your body becomes, the easier it becomes, and the more you start feeling actually the opposite effect, which is feeling really energized. Um, I remember the first fast that I ever did was for one day water fasting. And I came home at that night at the end of the 24 hours and I was in pain in my whole body. I felt sick to my stomach. All I could do was take a bath and I felt so angry. Like I was just in a rage, I was suffering. And that was one day water fasting. And now I can go 3, 4 days water fasting and still have energy and have a good mood. And maybe around the third, fourth day, I'm starting to get emotional stuff and I'm starting to feel things move on a deeper level. But that's all. Um, it's definitely relative to where we're at. And I hope that's an encouragement for everybody that it gets easier. Um, but you got to be willing to feel everything and you got to be willing to actually go straight into and confront the uncomfortable things and the symptoms in order to heal them. This is the opposite of suppression, suppressing symptoms or suppressing emotions. Everything's going to just come up, and that's pretty intense. Do you feel like your relationship to your body changed? You
Oh
said
yeah.
that you were very disconnected from your body when you started.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, I feel like it is my body now. Like I'm happy with it. Like I don't, yeah, I'm taking better care of it overall. Like I sit for a living for work, which is a big problem for me. And I've prioritized finding ways to take care of my body throughout the week, even if it's just for a small amount of times, and not discrediting what those smaller amounts can do. And um, yeah, it's all got easy, but the thing that's changed is the amount of stimulation um, I'm allowing in my life, which I was really overstimulated, and I think a lot of the population is, and we don't even realize it or know it because it's so we're we're so conditioned to it being normal.
Mhm.
And that's something that I have a big like a big handout where I'm like, okay, can't I can't take anymore. Like I need that time for myself to take care of myself. So in that way, yes.
Anything else that you want to share from anything in your experience before we wrap up?
It's definitely life-changing. It's extremely powerful. So if you have a goal in mind that you want to accomplish, I think really all you the if you can commit yourself to following the protocol, that would be the hardest part. Commit yourself there, and then everything else probably will follow. I recommend it like 20 out of 10. Do it. Yeah, finding the space to care for yourself in this, and then maybe taking like whatever space you think you need to do this, and then knowing that you probably need a little bit more space for yourself than you initially planned.
Mhm.
It is hard. It's hard, but it's the most worth it thing I've probably committed myself to as far as any sort of healing work I've done. 100%.
Ah, thanks for that.
Thank
Uh,
you for